Robert Moore, author of The French Connection, wrote a script based on Chuckie's time with Hoffa and separate interviews with other Hoffa employees. But the contract was rescinded because Ragano and O'Brien could not, according to Isgro, show Hoffa's life on screen. The New York Times declared him the new Robert Redford Joe Roth. Former director of the 20th Century Fox film department, went so far as to put DeVito in the same league as Francis Ford Coppola by telling the LA Times that making movies is in his blood. DeVito seemed to immerse himself in his own bombo, saying to the same newspaper, "It's like I'm in the middle of the square with a big marble plaque and the doctors say, look, we could have given this to Michelangelo or Da Vinci." According to Dennis McDougall's book on Nicholson, 5 Easy Decades, DeVito first listened to Hoffa during lunch with Roth before traveling to Europe. The main reason Pacino's attitude toward Hoffa will soon be relegated to the background in Nicholson's public consciousness is that the Jimmy Hoffa we see in The Irishman is more than the type with the biggest balls in space. As DeVito said, with Martin Scorsese's Irish fast approaching, it now seems as good as ever to reflect on DeVito's transition from comic actor to great filmmaker, and reevaluate a film that was advertised as a vehicle for Nicholson's return, but ended up experiencing a similar fierce fate about High Monsieur when Roth mentioned that a script based on Hoffa's life was being developed. DeVito immediately showed interest, then returned to Hollywood and learned that Fox Levinson had already offered the position. But before production began, the studio withdrew. Along with Schulberg, a truck driver's henchman went to the studio boss's office and announced that if the film was produced, the drivers would refuse to hand over the photos in the cinemas and all viewers would be kicked out of their seats by the stinking bomb attacks. Columbia Pictures' interest had declined rapidly following complaints from Hoffa's attorneys. DeVito asked Mamet to take a look at the script, but Levinson informed his friend that he was reading it and expressed his admiration for Mamet, who seemed to condemn DeVito's possibilities. If Hoffa first appeared on the big screen in 1983, when Robert Blake played him in the television film Blood Feud, he was already scheduled to take the burning personality to the cinema in 1961. Nicholson took the role, put on a nasal prosthesis, a toupee and a false tooth to approach Hoffa, and listened, like Pacino, to recordings of Hoffa to fully immerse himself in the character. DeVito had only a few feature films, including the cult classics Matilda and Death to Smoochie. While the great award-winning performance Nicholson was looking for came to A Few Good Men that same year, Pressman wasn't sure that he could bring Mamet on board, but as the son of a labor lawyer, he took the opportunity to write a film about Hoffa.